3 months. That's how long doctors told 42-year-old Michael Reynolds he might have left to live. The father of two had already gone through brutal rounds of chemotherapy. His hair was gone. His body had become weak. Food tasted like metal. Every morning felt like a battle between hope and pain. But the worst part wasn't the suffering. It was hearing his young daughter ask a question no parent ever wants to hear. "Dad, are you going to die?" For decades, chemotherapy has been one of humanity's biggest weapons against cancer. But it came with a terrifying price. It destroys cancer cells, yes, but it also attacks healthy cells. It weakens the immune system. It causes nausea, exhaustion, hair loss, nerve damage, infertility, and in some cases, even permanent organ problems. Millions of cancer patients around the world have lived through this nightmare, hoping the suffering would save their lives. But now, scientists are asking a question that once sounded impossible. What if we could destroy cancer without chemotherapy at all? What if the future of cancer treatment doesn't involve poisoning the body, but teaching the body to heal itself? And what happened to Michael Reynolds next shocked even his own doctors. Welcome back to the channel. If you're passionate about health breakthroughs, life-saving discoveries, and the science that could completely change our future, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because today's story may be one of the most important medical revolutions of our lifetime. Cancer has terrified humanity for centuries. Nearly every family on Earth has been touched by it in some way. A mother, a brother, a child, a best friend. The word itself carries fear. And for years, chemotherapy became the standard answer. Doctors would pump powerful chemicals into the body, hoping to kill the cancer before the cancer killed the patient. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But almost always, the treatment itself felt like torture. Imagine sitting in a cold hospital chair for hours while toxic chemicals enter your bloodstream. Imagine watching your body become weaker week after week. Imagine surviving cancer, but losing your strength, your energy, and pieces of your identity along the way. This has been the reality for millions. But deep inside laboratories around the world, scientists were quietly working on something radical, something that sounded almost like science fiction. Instead of attacking cancer directly with poison, what if doctors could train the immune system to recognize and destroy cancer cells naturally? What if the body already had the tools to fight cancer, but cancer had simply learned how to hide? That idea changed everything. To understand why this discovery is so important, you first need to understand something terrifying about cancer itself. Cancer is not just one disease. It's a master of deception. Every cancer cell begins as a normal cell in your body, but something goes wrong. A mutation happens. The cell stops following the rules. It begins multiplying uncontrollably. It spreads. It invades healthy tissues. And because it originally came from your own body, your immune system often struggles to recognize it as an enemy. Think about that for a second. Your body is constantly protecting you from viruses and bacteria. Your immune system is like an army trained to destroy invaders. But cancer is different. Cancer wears a disguise. It tricks the immune system into believing it belongs there. And by the time doctors discover it, the disease may already be spreading silently through the body. This is why chemotherapy became necessary. If the immune system couldn't stop cancer naturally, doctors had to use chemicals powerful enough to destroy rapidly growing cells. But the problem is that healthy cells also grow rapidly. Hair cells, cells in the stomach lining, cells in the bone marrow. Chemotherapy attacks them too. That's why patients lose their hair. That's why they feel sick. That's why their bodies become weak. For decades, this was considered unavoidable, a terrible sacrifice for survival, until researchers made a discovery that changed modern medicine forever. In the 1990s, scientists studying the immune system noticed something strange. Immune cells called T cells were capable of killing cancer cells. In fact, they were doing it all the time. The body was constantly detecting and destroying dangerous cells before they became deadly tumors. But somehow, advanced cancers had found a way to switch those T cells off. It was like discovering that cancer had hacked the body's defense system. This led to one of the most revolutionary ideas in medical history. Instead of poisoning cancer with chemotherapy, what if doctors could remove the brakes that cancer places on the immune system? What if they could wake the immune system up and allow it to fight back? That idea gave birth to immunotherapy. At first, many scientists were skeptical. Some believed it would never work. Others feared the immune system might become too aggressive and attack healthy organs. But early experiments showed something extraordinary. Certain patients with advanced cancers were responding in ways doctors had never seen before. Tumors were shrinking dramatically. Some patients who were expected to die within months were still alive years later. One of those patients was a woman named Judy Perkins. In 2003, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. For years, she underwent treatment after treatment, surgeries, chemotherapy, hormone therapy. But eventually, the cancer spread throughout her body. Her liver was filled with tumors. Doctors believed she was running out of time. Then she entered an experimental immunotherapy trial. Scientists extracted immune cells from her body and searched for the rare cells capable of recognizing her cancer. They multiplied billions of these cells in a laboratory and infused them back into her bloodstream. What happened next stunned the medical world. Her tumors began disappearing. Months later, scans revealed something unbelievable. The cancer was gone. Gone. For some researchers, it felt like witnessing the future arrive early. But the story doesn't end there, because immunotherapy was only the beginning. Another breakthrough emerged called CAR T-cell therapy, and this treatment sounded even more unbelievable. Scientists would take a patient's immune cells, genetically reprogram them to hunt cancer more effectively, and then send them back into the body like microscopic assassins. Imagine re-engineering your own immune system into a precision weapon. One young girl named Emily Whitehead became one of the most famous examples. At just 6 years old, she was dying from leukemia. Chemotherapy had failed. Her organs were shutting down. Doctors told her parents to prepare for the worst, but they agreed to try an experimental CAR T treatment as a final hope. The treatment nearly killed her at first. Her immune system reacted violently. She developed a life-threatening fever. Doctors rushed to save her. But then something incredible happened. The leukemia disappeared. Emily survived. Years later, she remained cancer-free. Stories like hers spread around the world like wildfire. Suddenly, cancer treatment no longer looked impossible. For the first time, scientists began openly discussing a future where chemotherapy might become less necessary, or even obsolete for some cancers. But there's something even more shocking. Some researchers now believe cancer vaccines could completely transform prevention and treatment forever. When most people hear the word vaccine, they think about infectious diseases like COVID-19 or measles. But cancer vaccines work differently. Instead of preventing viruses, they train the immune system to recognize cancer-specific markers. In simple terms, they teach the body how to spot cancer before it spreads out of control. And recently, one technology exploded into global attention: mRNA vaccines. The same technology used during the COVID-19 pandemic is now being tested against cancer. Companies like Moderna and BioNTech are developing personalized cancer vaccines designed specifically for each patient's tumor. Scientists analyze the genetic mutations inside a patient's cancer, create a custom vaccine targeting those mutations, and then train the immune system to destroy the cancer cells. It sounds almost unreal. Personalized medicine created for one single human being. Early trials have shown astonishing promise. In some melanoma patients, the risk of cancer returning dropped dramatically when personalized vaccines were combined with immunotherapy. Think about how revolutionary that is. For decades, doctors used generalized treatments that attacked the entire body. Now medicine is becoming personal, targeted, and intelligent. And then came another breakthrough that shocked researchers worldwide: liquid biopsies. One of the biggest reasons cancer is deadly is because it's often discovered too late. Symptoms may not appear until the disease has already spread. But liquid biopsy technology aims to detect cancer using a simple blood test. Tiny fragments of tumor DNA circulating in the bloodstream can reveal cancer long before scans or symptoms appear. Imagine detecting cancer years earlier than before. Imagine treating it before tumors become massive and deadly. Imagine millions of lives saved simply because the disease was caught in time. This is why some experts believe we are entering the beginning of a completely new era in medicine. But there's another side to this story that few people talk about. These treatments are incredibly expensive. Some immunotherapy drugs cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per patient. CAR T therapies can exceed $500,000. Personalized vaccines require advanced genetic analysis and customized production. And while wealthy countries may begin adopting these technologies, millions of people in poorer regions still struggle to access even basic cancer care. This creates a painful question. What good is a miracle treatment if most people can't afford it? Scientists and governments are now racing to solve this problem. Researchers hope that as technology improves, costs will eventually fall, just like they did with computers and smartphones. But for now, access remains unequal. And there's another truth people rarely hear. These new treatments don't work for everyone. Some patients experience incredible recoveries. Others don't respond at all. Scientists are still trying to understand why. Cancer is extraordinarily complex. Different cancers behave differently. Even tumors inside the same patient may evolve and change over time. This is why experts warn against calling chemotherapy completely dead just yet. In many cancers, chemotherapy still saves lives. In some cases, combining chemotherapy with immunotherapy works better than either treatment alone. But what's undeniable is this: The world of cancer treatment is changing faster than ever before. Researchers are now exploring artificial intelligence to predict how cancers behave. AI systems can analyze enormous amounts of patient data, genetic mutations, and treatment responses faster than human doctors ever could. Some AI tools are already helping detect cancers in medical scans with remarkable accuracy. Imagine a future where an AI system detects cancer in your body before you even feel sick. A personalized vaccine is created specifically for your tumor. Your immune system is trained to destroy the disease naturally, and treatment happens with far fewer side effects than chemotherapy. For millions of people, this future cannot come soon enough. Every year, cancer kills nearly 10 million people worldwide. Behind every number is a real human story. A family shattered, a dream interrupted, a child growing up without a parent. And that emotional reality is what drives scientists to keep pushing forward. One researcher described cancer research as a race against grief. Think about that sentence, a race against grief. Because every breakthrough means someone's mother may survive. Someone's husband may live to see his daughter graduate. Someone may get more birthdays, more memories, more time. But despite the excitement surrounding these new therapies, there's still fear. Some experts worry that hype on social media creates unrealistic expectations. Headlines saying, "Cancer cure found," spread rapidly online. But reality is more complicated. Cancer isn't one disease with one simple cure. It's hundreds of diseases driven by different genetic mutations and biological mechanisms. That's why scientists speak carefully. They avoid promising miracles. Medicine has seen too many false hopes before, yet even cautious researchers admit something extraordinary is happening right now. For decades, survival rates for many advanced cancers barely improved. But immunotherapy changed the trajectory. Some metastatic melanoma patients who once faced near-certain death are now living many years beyond expectations. Lung cancer patients are surviving longer. Blood cancer patients are experiencing remissions once considered impossible. The impossible is slowly becoming possible. And perhaps the most emotional part of this entire revolution is what it means psychologically for patients. Traditional chemotherapy often makes people feel powerless. Their bodies become battlegrounds attacked by toxic chemicals. But immunotherapy feels different. It transforms the body itself into the weapon. It gives patients a strange but powerful sense of hope, that their own immune system may still fight for them. That hope matters more than most people realize. Because cancer doesn't only attack the body, it attacks the mind. It creates fear at 3 a.m. when patients lie awake wondering if they'll survive. It creates anxiety every time a phone rings with test results. It changes relationships, finances, careers, and identities. Even survivors often live with constant fear that the cancer may return. This emotional burden is enormous, and maybe that's why stories of breakthrough treatments spread so quickly online. People desperately want hope. They want to believe the nightmare may finally end. But there's another terrifying reality scientists are discovering. Modern lifestyles may be contributing to rising cancer risks around the world. Ultra-processed foods, smoking, alcohol, obesity, pollution, chronic stress, lack of exercise, and environmental toxins are all linked to increased cancer risk. In some countries, younger adults are now developing cancers that once mostly affected older populations. Colon cancer in younger adults has risen alarmingly in recent years. Researchers are still investigating why. This means the future battle against cancer isn't only about better treatments, it's also about prevention. Doctors emphasize that while revolutionary therapies are exciting, reducing cancer risk through lifestyle choices still matters enormously. Regular screenings, healthy diets, exercise, avoiding smoking, and paying attention to early symptoms can save lives. Because even the most advanced treatment is always harder than prevention. Still, for patients already facing cancer, these breakthroughs represent something deeply emotional: possibility. Take a moment to imagine being told you have terminal cancer. Imagine hearing there are no options left. Then suddenly, an experimental treatment gives you another chance at life. Another Christmas, another birthday, another sunrise. That's not science fiction anymore, and researchers are moving even faster now. Clinical trials around the world are testing combinations of therapies designed to make the immune system even stronger. Some scientists are experimenting with tiny nanoparticles that deliver drugs directly into tumors. Others are exploring gene editing technologies like CRISPR to reprogram immune cells with incredible precision. Some researchers even believe future treatments could make cancer behave more like a manageable chronic condition instead of a death sentence. Imagine hearing the words, "you have cancer," and not immediately associating them with fear and suffering. Imagine a future generation seeing chemotherapy the same way we now view outdated medical procedures from the past. It may sound impossible today, but so did organ transplants once. So did antibiotics. So did vaccines. Medical revolutions often begin quietly before suddenly changing the world forever. And remember Michael Reynolds, the father who was told he had only months left to live? After chemotherapy failed, he enrolled in an immunotherapy trial almost by accident. His doctors weren't promising miracles. They simply hoped to slow the cancer down. But within months, scans showed something extraordinary. His tumors were shrinking. A year later, many had disappeared completely. One day, he walked into his daughter's room while she was doing homework. She looked up at him and asked, "Dad, are you better now?" He smiled, and for the first time in years, he believed the answer might actually be yes. That moment is why scientists keep fighting. Not for headlines, not for fame, but for moments like that. Because behind every laboratory experiment is a human life waiting to be saved. And maybe one day, decades from now, future generations will look back at chemotherapy the same way we look back at ancient medical practices. Necessary for its time, but primitive compared to what came next. But until then, the fight continues. Right now, somewhere in the world, a scientist is working late in a laboratory trying to unlock the next breakthrough. Somewhere, a patient is receiving an experimental therapy that could rewrite medical history. Somewhere, a family is praying for one more chance. Cancer remains one of humanity's greatest enemies. But for the first time in a very long time, humanity may finally be learning how to fight smarter instead of harder. And perhaps that is the real revolution. Not just destroying cancer, but transforming fear into hope. Because hope is powerful. Hope keeps patients alive through unbearable treatments. Hope pushes researchers to continue after failed experiments. Hope gives families strength during the darkest nights. And today, hope is growing stronger than ever before. If this video opened your eyes, share it with someone you love, because awareness saves lives. Early detection saves lives. And understanding the future of medicine may one day save your own life or the life of someone close to you. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful documentaries on health, science, and the breakthroughs shaping our future. And remember this, your health is not something to ignore until it's too late. Listen to your body. Take symptoms seriously. Go for screenings. Protect your future while you still can. Because life can change in a single phone call. But sometimes, so can hope.